Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Gavel Gang Podcast, an insight into the collections we get here at Ewbank's auction house in Surrey.
Happy New Year, Andrew.
Happy New Year, John.
Here we are, 2026.
2026.
If you told me when I was at school I'd be alive in the year 2026, I would have thought it was fantastical, some future sci-fi date. But here it is.
It's here, and I don't know how it's come around so quickly, but and we had an incredibly busy year last year, but we're all back.
Busy and successful.
Very successful. It was our biggest year to date last year at Ewbank's. We were 30% up on the previous year's hammer price, and over 6 million in hammer for our clients in the last year.
Amazing figures. Yeah. I didn't actually know it was the best year ever. I knew we'd had one of the best months within the year, but the entire year was the best. Wow.
It was. Since 2007, when we sold the collection of Francis Bacon paintings for over 1 million. 960,000 hammer in December.
Wow, that's what it totaled, all that. Amazing.
Busy, really busy.
Well, I think let's look back at some of those successful sales. So now, from my point of view, of course, I can never forget the huge vinyl sale.
Yeah.
Which was last year. Feels like the year before almost.
It was. And that did, in terms of what we invoiced for that, 130,000, over 130,000 invoiced to buyers.
There's records from Ewbank all over the world now.
Did we ever know how many records were in the
I estimated, you can't count them all, 30,000. And I think I was pretty close.
Yeah. And there was some filler in there as well, wasn't there? It wasn't
all gold, but there was a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
A handful of amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And just loads of good stuff that, people probably bought. I think there was a lot of end buyers buying stuff.
Yeah.
Where they just wanted them for themselves. Instant collections, buy 2 boxes of records, 150 records.
Yeah.
Instant collection.
It's increasingly popular, isn't it, vinyl for private collectors?
Incredible. It's not gone away. This revival for vinyl, I'd say it started back in 2010, maybe, something like that. Because you remember the 2000s. Vinyl was nowhere. Very rare to get it. And we thought, when it came back in 2010, me and my friends in records shops and so forth, we thought this might last a couple of years. Here we are, 16 years on, and it's just not going anywhere.
It's that physicality, isn't it? I've got a record collection, a small, very modest one, nothing like that, but it's holding a full-size artwork sleeve.
Yeah.
And I was remembering this sale, we had the John Peel stuff. That sort of struck me. I've never seen
that. It was a good one, wasn't it? Altogether, it was a lot of them in those most boring sleeves ever, silver or copper coloured, same sleeve on all of them, but great bands like the Smiths.
Yeah.
And a lot of 80s stuff that's sort of gone by the wayside. But there's one collection, someone obviously loved that.
That was a great sale. That was back in April. And I think the memorabilia has I think we'll come back to it a lot as we run through. I think we're going to look at sort of 10 lots today, and lots or sales, and that was the first. So the vinyl records, that was back in April, and that was a real highlight. But just generally, I've been looking at some of the figures, John, and the music's up by several 100% on the previous year.
That's probably the records and the guitar sale probably help with that.
They had some great guitars, didn't we, in December as well. And personal favourite of mine was the Fleetwood Mac lyrics. That was the second one I had on the music.
Right. That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Peter Green. Man of the World, which isn't a song that I was massively familiar with.
That one well.
Yeah.
I tried to learn it on guitar, actually, over Christmas.
It was a bit different, wasn't he? Almost like a bit of a reluctant rock star, would you say? Maybe didn't
he went a bit the way of Sid Barrett, from what I read, went a bit wrong for him. And
So that's on the music side of things. We've had some other great results in the more traditional areas as well. We had an artist called Ben Nwonwu's artworks. We had 2.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Was that the study of a child? Was that one?
No, there was a study of a West African child. That was one of the pictures, which was more typical of his artwork.
Yeah.
This was back in June. And there was also a portrait of a Miss June Gibson, who was a friend of his. He was a very well-respected artist in his own lifetime, but probably now seen as one of the leading exponents of African art. That stuff did really well as well. There were 2 paintings in that lot. It was consigned by the family of Miss June Gibson as well, which was nice. And that made a total of around about 120,000 hammer for the 2.
Brilliant. I remember you did a video with Philip expert art guy.
Yeah, Philip's been great, and he's currently working on a single owner collection at the moment. Actually, we've got coming up in January John Plum, who was a kind of contemporary modern British artist, I guess.
Right, I saw him cataloguing some of that, and it was quite a striking set.
It's quite
some of them pretty huge, right?
Some of them are big, some of them are sort of more suitable for hanging at home. So that's coming up at the end of January. But yeah, Philip's been leading the way in the fine art department. They were our two biggest picture results for the year.
Yeah. What was next?
So next, there's the traditional areas of art and antiques. Silver and gold are obviously dictated by precious metal prices. And yeah, those have been on the rise this year. A lot of political instability, which always pushes those prices up. But we had a really great collection of silver that came in December, actually, that was from a guild, the Guild of Founders. So that's sort of iron foundry workers. It's really quite unusual to get a collection of silver from a guild directly in that way, because they don't normally sort of part ways with them. And so they were selling for a lot more than weight generally, but we had a big canteen. We sold for them for over 20,000 hammer price of flatware. But we had some really nice individual sort of bowls and things out of that collection.
Everything we sell, that's probably the thing I've got least knowledge on. So do people buy things like silver to melt down or for the weight? Is it all?
It's a mix, really. So it depends if lots of stuff is sold on weight and is melted down, things that really are not practically necessarily used in this.
Well, a lot of that stuff, if you imagine what people had their silver for Sunday best back in the mid 20th century, no one does that now.
No, and it's a similar thing you see with porcelain and tea services and things. So there are people who do collect, but lesser and lesser number. And because the end user, as you say, isn't necessarily sitting down at the dinner table.
When did you last sit down with a silver service?
I'm not sure I ever have. But this stuff, the stuff from the guild, that wasn't sold necessarily on weight because there's some really nice intricate things, great provenance.
Yeah.
But generally, I would say probably the percentage of stuff that does sell on weight for silver is pretty high. It's probably 70-80% of what you sell ends up getting melted down, because silver's a desirable raw material.
Yeah.
Used in so many things, of course.
Well, from silver, what about jewellery? Lead on nicely to jewellery.
Yeah, so jewellery's done incredibly well this year. I think the jewellery department, jewellery and watches combined is about 20% up on the prior year.
Michael Parkinson,
that was the sort of lot we wanted to talk about in particular. So we had a collection of vintage watches that belong to Sir Michael Parkinson, the incredible chat show host, amongst other things, big cricket fan, of course, as well. Yeah, they did really well. These were Rolex, Patek Philippe watches. They didn't have boxes and paperwork, but the provenance was cast iron, you know.
Yeah.
The connection with Sir Michael Parkinson is what really drove the prices up. There was a Rolex in particular, with buyer's fees that sell for about 17,500.
Yeah.
Which is more than it would be worth if it wasn't Sir Michael's.
I suppose Michael got paid pretty well in his heyday, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And, some really notable interviews throughout his career, really.
That's true.
In the mind.
Was it Muhammad Ali?
Ali and the famous ones. And then you had Oliver Reed and things like that.
Yeah.
They were quite sort of dramatic. And then maybe the more challenging ones, I think, was it Meg Ryan? That was.
Oh, he famously didn't get on with Meg Ryan.
She was a bit difficult, I think.
That's what
possibly. But that was a great collection. That was back in September, I think. It's been a smattering throughout the year. But, jewellery, gold prices are at a record high at the minute as well. Just with the way things are in the world, it tends to push up the gold price.
Well, just to sidestep a minute from the auctions, we were talking about TV there with Parkinson. I've heard there's some TV show getting involved with this soon. What is it? Are you going on Traitors or something?
I'm not going to be on anything, which I'm sure everyone will be delighted to know, but the travelling auctioneers are coming here to film. It's a BBC show. They do some restoration work, and there are some auctioneers that then come to various sale rooms and sell goods on behalf of the clients. So that's coming to us here at Ewbank's on the 19th of January, Monday the 19th.
Oh, great.
So they're going to be here. They've got some nice lots. They've got some gold actually in that collection. There's some really interesting stuff.
Any music stuff?
Nothing music, but there's some interesting sort of zoological stuff. There was one of the clients there was working at a zoo, and they've got some nice sort of actually I think looking after the apes possibly. So they've got some tranquilizer. There's a little frame display of some tranquilizer.
Oh wow!
Things like that. They're quite interesting. But yeah, that should be quite good fun. And actually, it's open to the public. So if anyone wants to come down, you don't have to be on telly. You can sign that either there or you don't have to be filmed, or if you are happy to, you can be on telly as well for that. And I don't know when they put it out, but it's a good little show. So.
Oh, bro, I'll iron my shirt that day. Okay, well, from TV to film.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Octopussy, we had some great clapperboards and a load of other stuff from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, that was really great fun. It's one of my favourite collections personally of the year because I grew up pretty much like you.
I rewatched all 3 this December as it happens, and I absolutely love them all.
Yeah.
Hard to put in order.
I can remember the original adverts that were on in my recorded copies from the 1980s on VHS. Yeah, we had some fantastic stuff. Empire Strikes Back, clapperboard. There was a Hoth trooper helmet from the ice scenes. Some wonderful candid behind the scenes photographs of the crew.
And I scanned in all those slides, which was an absolute pleasure. You never do pull slide out and like, oh, that's the probe droid, Imperial probe droid.
Yeah.
Obviously surrounded.
And you had all the explosions and the pyrotechnics and stuff there featured in those photos. But my favourite was the crew member dressed in the Wampa.
That was the best picture of all.
Monster.
Brilliant. Reached a really good price too for a load of slides, effectively.
Yeah. So that was great. That was sold on behalf of Greg Dupree, who was the second assistant cameraman on The Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, really great fun. That the clapperboard, I think, with the hat with a kind of top value lot selling at around about 15,000 each.
Yeah. Was he the Octopussy as well, or was that
the Octopussy did go through? That was also him. So he worked on Octopus. He didn't get a credit on that film because in those days you had to pay. And Greg was telling me that that would have been the equivalent of like a week's wages or something.
What a revelation!
Yeah,
that's a bit shocking, actually.
I know it is very different back then. But that sold, I think, 5,000 or 6,000 for the Octopussy one. But it was interesting with the clappers because he would just put tape over the top. So he would reuse a clapperboard for each production. So you had this really thick batch on the Octopussy one, tape underneath it. But then he retired it after Octopussy. He kept it. So it's all visible. It's good fun.
So from the movies to comics, Superman and co. I think the comics are pretty well, didn't they?
The comics, I mean, it's been so... Tom Doomer, who's our comics man, as you know, he's done so well in the last year with the comic books. We only started selling these as a standalone sale in April 24, and now here we are, 2025, 450,000 odd in Hammer for the year. And I guess the highlight was, as you say, this Superman collection. So I think we talked about it on a previous episode. There was a comic commissioned by a wealthy businessman given to his son to replace his son's comics that he had thrown out.
Right, I remember that.
Because they had asbestos in the building or something. And as a result of that, there were very, very few of these made. And very few of them have been on the market. And yet our vendor turned up around a box in a car boot sale of 47 of them.
Oh,
more than tripled the amount that were actually on the market. He thought he didn't want to sort of sell them one by one. He wanted to sell them all in one go. So we had an auction for him back in November. And, we priced them all up as competitively as we could. But they sold for a total of 48,000 Hammer. For those,
is it still worth going to car boots?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. He actually, when he was at the car boot sale, on top, he wasn't interested in these. On top of it, there was some other comics that he wanted. He was interested. I think it might have been Star Trek, but so he bought it on the basis of what was on top of it, and then he got home, put it all in the attic, and then looked it up a little bit later on, did a bit of digging, was like, hang on a minute, what have I got here?
Oh, nice.
So it just goes to show, doesn't it? Always try and get an opinion on stuff. If you find it in your attic, or if you find it at a car boot, you don't know what it is. One of the most high-priced things we've ever sold here was £100,000 for a marine ivory necklace that was due to go across the road to a car boot sale with a £15 price tag on it.
Wow. Well, we all love that, don't we? The treasure hunt, basically.
It's nice, yeah.
It's good so it can still...
And that's, I don't know about you, but it's one of my favourite things in this job is finding something that you had no idea was going to be there.
Yeah, definitely. We're always on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
So
it's not on the list, but on the music, I was particularly tickled by and enjoyed the Morrissey letters that we had.
Oh yeah, they were fab, weren't they?
Yeah. You saw the client on that one, didn't you?
I did. I drove out to London, picked them up, which was just lovely. Little drive in the morning, nice client. Drove back. they were there on the passenger seat. I was like, could take my eye off them. I was like, don't get out of the car or anything until they go back to work.
And it was Sparks Records he was buying, wasn't it? Steve
Right.
Morrissey.
Yes, because young Morrissey was known as a big music fan, and he would write these letters and buy in Sounds magazine, was it? Trading, and there's all ads.
Yeah. But vendor kept hold of these all these years, and then we're going. I think they sold around about 1,1700 each. I could be wrong.
Like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, and the last on the list is James Spooner. We'll give a little shout out to him because not only is he the video games and trading cards guy, but he's also our AV man. He clicked these likes on us early.
He's the unfortunate person that has to edit this
podcasts and videos. And he does a brilliant job. So
he does.
Well done, James. Don't edit this out.
Yeah, leave this in.
He had some success with it.
Yeah, we had some really good sales on the trading cards front, and particular highlight lot came right at the end of the year. Our last auction of the year included a Sega multi-cabinet swing for the only existing known English language version of a particular Sega Sonic game. But yeah, it did really well. It sold for £20,000 hammer price. It had great provenance. It had been at the Trocadero in London of the United States. And it had been, since then, it had been at Sega HQ as well. So yeah, £20,000 for an arcade machine.
Pretty good.
It caused a bit of a stir online. Lots of people were talking about trying to get it emulated and things like that, but they could then play it. I know you've come from a video game industry as well, but I think there were a lot of quite knowledgeable people replying to some of those comments, saying that this is not really designed to be played any other way than with a trackball, because this had, you're asleep.
Oh, the trackball, yeah.
But I mean, important as well, things like this are preserved, and we went up, didn't we, to the video game.
Oh, what was that called? I think that was New Games, wasn't it, London?
We went up to the video game conference in London, up at the at London Wall.
Yeah, next to Barbican.
And we met John there from...
he was brilliant, from the National Video Game Museum, Sheffield.
Yeah.
And I subsequently took up his offer of visiting it, and it was in a fab afternoon.
Yeah, and he does incredible work with preservation of games and things like that. So it is so important where, in a world where, companies can just decide to discontinue things to keep them in existence.
Yeah. Well, what a fab roundup of a great year.
Yeah, it's been great fun, and I'm really excited for this coming year because I think we can do the same and more again. Memorabilia is just so hot right now.
We can just build on it, and all the great press we've had this year, and that all really helps. In fact, I was back home in Leicester at Christmas, and my family was saying, "Oh, my brother's friend was in a pub in Leicester, and he came up and said, 'Oh, John, I saw him in the paper,' and I haven't seen this fella for like a decade." And he was all excited because he'd read it on the BBC website about the records. Yeah. So this stuff really does get from as a publicist. You can really build on it.
You can get a story out of something that sells for 15,000. You could sell a diamond ring for 50,000. No one will bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
But if you have Paul McCartney's driving license, which we also had this year, for £15,000. It's great, it's press worthy, and people love it, and we love our job. And I just want to say a particular thanks to all of our clients and customers who are a really lovely group of people, and they've supported us over the last.
They have, and just before I came out here, fellow just dropped off his beautiful Fender Strat, and I've got to go and catalogue that now, and I have to plug it in and test it. What a hardship!
You have to play it.
Great,
thanks, John.
Let's get going for 2026.
Cheers, John.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Gavel Gang Podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, please subscribe and take a look at the Ewbank's website for more information on this and upcoming auctions. Until next time, going.